The vast, shimmering expanse of the Arabian Sea stretched before the MV Rouen, a Maltese-flagged merchant vessel dutifully charting its course. It was December 14, 2023, and the ship was on a long journey from Gwangyang, South Korea, to its final destination in Genoa, Italy. On board, a multinational crew of 17 sailors, 9 from Myanmar, 7 from Bulgaria, and 1 from Angola, went about their duties, the rhythmic hum of the ship's engines a familiar companion. They were seasoned seafarers, accustomed to the solitude and challenges of life at sea. But honestly, nothing could have prepared them for the terror that was about to shatter their routine voyage and plunge them into a desperate fight for survival. As darkness enveloped the ocean, a new, menacing sound cut through the night. The low growl of high-speed skiffs, slicing through the waves, signaled an imminent threat. Suddenly, the vessel was swarmed. 35 Somali pirates, armed with assault rifles and a grim determination, scrambled aboard with practiced efficiency. The crew, caught completely by surprise, had no time to mount a defense. The pirates quickly seized control of the bridge, their shouts echoing across the decks, instantly transforming the merchant ship into a floating prison. The crew were now hostages, their fate hanging precariously in the hands of ruthless criminals. The initial days of captivity were a blur of fear and uncertainty. The pirates' intentions became terrifyingly clear. They planned to convert the MV Rouen into a mothership, a mobile base from which they could launch further attacks on unsuspecting vessels traversing these busy shipping lanes. For the 17 crew members, this marked the beginning of a grueling 3-month ordeal. Confined and constantly watched, they faced dwindling supplies of food and water. The psychological toll was immense as hope dwindled with each passing day. The vastness of the ocean, once a symbol of freedom, now felt like an impassable barrier separating them from rescue. The international community was not idle. The ship's flag state, Malta, and the government of Bulgaria, whose citizens were among the hostages, initiated diplomatic efforts. They tried to negotiate, leveraging every channel available to secure the crew's safe release. However, the volatile situation in Somalia and the pirates' unyielding demands for a hefty ransom created a frustrating stalemate. Weeks turned into months, and with each failed attempt, the prospects for a peaceful resolution grew dimmer. The pirates, emboldened by the lack of decisive action, held firm, leaving the crew and their families in a state of agonizing suspense. It became painfully apparent that a different kind of intervention was needed. With diplomatic avenues exhausted and the crew's situation growing more dire, the government of Bulgaria made a formal and desperate plea. They turned to a nation with a proven track record of combating piracy and a formidable naval presence in the region, India. The Indian Navy, already conducting anti-piracy patrols under an ongoing mission codenamed Operation Sankalp, accepted the daunting task without hesitation. This was more than just a rescue mission. It was a test of capability, resolve, and India's commitment to being a net security provider in the Indian Ocean. The decision was made at the highest levels, and the wheels of a complex military operation began to turn. At the Southern Naval Command headquarters in Kochi, a meticulous plan was forged. The first and most critical phase was surveillance. For nearly 3 months, the Indian Navy played a high-stakes game of cat and mouse with the pirates. They deployed their most advanced assets, including P-8Y Poseidon long-range maritime patrol aircraft and sophisticated high-altitude drones. These eyes in the sky worked relentlessly, tracking the MV Rouen's every move as the pirates tried to conceal it along the Somali coastline. The intelligence gathered was painstaking and precise, painting a clear picture of the pirates' activities, their numbers, and their routines aboard the hijacked vessel. This was a mission defined by patience and precision. The Indian Navy understood that a premature or poorly planned assault could endanger the very lives they were trying to save. Every piece of information, from the ship's layout to the pirates' guard patterns, was analyzed. The operational planners waited for the perfect moment to strike. A moment when the pirates would be most vulnerable and the chances of a successful rescue would be highest. This period of intense surveillance was a silent, unseen battle of wits, fought miles above the ocean's surface, laying the groundwork for the decisive action that was to come. On March 15, 2024, that moment finally arrived. The pirates, feeling secure after months of inaction from the international community, made a bold move. They took the MV Ruan back out into the open sea, likely preparing to launch a fresh wave of attacks. This was the trigger the Indian Navy had been waiting for. The warship INS Kolkata, a state-of-the-art stealth-guided missile destroyer, which had been shadowing the pirate-controlled ship, was ordered to intercept. Located 260 nautical miles east of the Somali coast, the INS Kolkata closed in, ready to execute the next phase of Operation Sankalp and confront the pirates head-on. The confrontation began with a stark display of the pirates' audacity. As an Indian Navy surveillance drone flew closer to the MV Ruan to get a final assessment, a puff of smoke erupted from the hijacked ship. The pirates had opened fire, shooting down the unmanned aircraft in a brazen act of defiance. This was immediately followed by a volley of gunfire directed at the INS Kolkata itself. The pirates were not going to surrender without a fight. The Indian destroyer, however, was prepared for this escalation. Its response was swift, calibrated, and overwhelming, designed to neutralize the threat without harming the hostages held captive below deck. The captain of the INS Kolkata issued a series of firm warnings, ordering the pirates to surrender and release the crew. When these calls were met with more gunfire, the warship retaliated. It was not a full-scale barrage, but a series of precise, disabling shots. The ship's powerful 76mm main gun and heavy machine guns roared to life, targeting the MV Ruan's steering gear and navigation systems. The calculated strikes were devastatingly effective. Crippled and unable to maneuver, the pirate mothership was rendered dead in the water. The INS Kolkata had successfully isolated the vessel, turning it into a stationary target for the final decisive phase of the operation. As dawn broke on March 16th, the sky above the Indian Ocean witnessed an extraordinary sight. An Indian Air Force C-17 Globemaster transport aircraft, having flown for 10 hours straight across 1,400 nautical miles, arrived at the scene. From its rear ramp, a team of 18 elite Marcos commandos, India's Naval Special Forces, leaped into the void. Led by Lieutenant Commander Harshal Bhatt, they parachuted into the sea near the immobilized MV Ruan, along with 2 combat rubberized raiding craft boats. This audacious airborne insertion, executed with pinpoint accuracy in the middle of the ocean, demonstrated a level of joint service coordination and daring rarely seen in modern warfare. The assault was a symphony of coordinated military power. While the Marcos prepared to board, they were supported by a multi-layered cordon of naval assets. The patrol vessel INS Subhadra maintained a close watch, while the P-81 aircraft and high-altitude MQ-9C Guardian drones circled overhead. This relentless pressure from the air and sea kept the pirates disoriented and pinned down, preventing them from organizing any effective resistance or harming the hostages. The commandos, now in their stealthy inflatable boats, approached the MV Ruan under the cover of this overwhelming presence, ready to climb its hull and liberate the ship. The final assault was a testament to the silent, deadly efficiency of the Marcos. Under the cloak of the unfolding dawn, the commandos stealthily boarded the MV Ruan. They moved with a disciplined speed that caught the pirates completely off guard. The ensuing confrontation was short and decisive. Facing highly trained special forces and with no hope of escape, the pirates' will to fight crumbled. Within hours, all 35 Somali pirates were systematically rounded up and captured. Not a single hostage was harmed. By the morning of a new day, the ship was fully secured and all 17 crew members were liberated from their 3-month nightmare. In a powerful and symbolic act, once the vessel was declared safe, the Marcos commandos hoisted the Indian tricolour flag on the ship's deck. The flag, fluttering proudly against the backdrop of the Arabian Sea, sent an unmistakable message to the world. It was a declaration of India's capability, its resolve to protect maritime freedom, and its unwavering commitment to human life. The rescued crew, overwhelmed with relief and gratitude, finally tasted freedom. The Indian Navy had not just rescued a ship, it had restored hope and demonstrated that lawlessness on the high seas would not go unchallenged. The aftermath of Operation Sankalp reverberated across the globe. The 35 captured pirates were brought to Mumbai to face the Indian legal system, marking the first time in over a decade that sea pirates were brought to India to stand trial. This act underscored India's zero-tolerance policy towards piracy. International praise poured in. Bulgarian President Rumen Radev personally telephoned Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, hailing the rescue as a historic mission. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh declared that the Indian Navy had once again proven itself to be the true guardian of peace and security at sea, a sentiment echoed by military analysts who compared the Marcos's feat to those of the world's most elite special forces. The success of Operation Sankalp marked a pivotal moment for India's strategic posture. It was more than a single victory. It was a powerful demonstration of the nation's evolved security doctrine. As Navy Chief Admiral Dinesh K. Tripathi later stated in June 2025, the operation exemplified India's new approach of treating acts of terror as acts of war, met with a rapid and measured response. The mission, led by stalwarts like Vice Admiral C.R. Praveen Nair and Commodore Kartik Srimal, enhanced India's stature as a formidable maritime power and a reliable partner in global security. It was a proud moment for the nation, a story of courage, precision, and the triumph of order over chaos on the high seas.